Welcome to this week's episode of the Baseball Together podcast. This week we have hot stove news updates, and we're going to wrap up the season by checking in on meaningless predictions and giving our final emoji tiers.
9+ Us presents the Baseball Together podcast with your hosts, Blackjack Brad and Kansas City Little Big Briggy Blue Eyes. And now, Baseball Together.
Welcome, baseball family, to this week's episode of the Baseball Together podcast. I am Brad. I'm one of your hosts, and as you would guess, I'm joined by our guy Brig. Welcome, Brig. How is the sickness treating you this week?
It's getting better. It's getting better. Sorry. I'm going to be hovering over that cough button a lot today, and it's going to be really nice. So thanks for being here with me.
We're going to get through.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there's actually not a whole lot to get into this week. Like usually there is, but this week, honestly, there is not. Mostly it's hot stove stuff, free agent signings, a couple trades that I think we've actually already talked about, but mostly it's the free agency. And we're going to talk about notable guys on the market, and we'll share some of our thoughts on that. And then, like I said, we'll get into later. We're going to check in on our meaningless predictions, see how we did, and then we'll give our final emoji tiers. And that'll be wrapping up the 2022 season. And we only got a couple weeks left until we get into 2023, and we look forward to the World Baseball Classic.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
Me too. I can't wait. Okay. All right. Let's get into hot stove news updates. There was a flurry of free agency signings over the last week or so. We're going to go through some of the major ones, the big one, and with all the controversy surrounding it too, because of our guy, everybody's favorite, John Heyman, right?
Everybody loves that John Heyman right now.
Apparently, Arson Judge had signed with the Giants.
Oh man.
And I was like, oh, well, he must have been so excited. He thought he was going to burn the whole place down just with that news.
Well, I mean, how could you not be excited if you're any journalist, right? Like that's going to be the scoop of the century.
Oh, big time. But then he's like, oh, wait, hold up. I might have jumped the gun. So then Aaron Judge, as it turns out, re-signed with the Yankees, 9 years, $360 million. It did come out that he said that he was more focused on his legacy than the money during free agency. Brig, as a Yankees fan, do you buy that?
No.
I don't think anybody does.
I don't think anybody buys it. I think that is the perfect answer for a guy returning to Yankee Stadium. You know, that's the perfect answer for the fans. That's what we want to hear. But we all know what the money was at the forefront of your mind. But what I will say, though, is that so is winning. And I think that's where he's just using the word legacy to sort of encapsulate all of the other factors that are involved. This is a guy who's very likely going to be the next, for sure, named captain of the Yankees. It hasn't been done since Derek Jeter. Even before that, it was, a long time before that. So, and that's a whole thing we'll get into. But so I think there's that. They obviously renovated right field bleachers as the judges' chambers. So there is legacy factor involved. But when you learn that the Padres offered him $400 million, you can't say that money is every single thing, right? He is looking for the right fit. He's looking for culture or winning potential or whatever these other factors are. So I don't know. I'm not buying legacy as I'm not going to swallow the whole pill, but I think that there are other factors aside from just dollar bills.
I think there are too. And it's interesting too. You bring up the Padres. Judge was not the only guy to turn down the Padres.
Exactly.
There were a few guys who did for more money.
Right.
And it really is making me question what they have going on there. Is that they're willing to throw some money around. We've seen that. We continue to see that with them wanting to sign guys. But people it seems like guys who are super concerned about maybe the clubhouse, maybe winning, maybe the makeup of an organization are not willing to go there. And I don't know what it is.
Something's
maybe
wrong.
It's Manny Machado, maybe it's Tatis. I don't know. But there's something wrong there. And
I got to struggle to believe it has anything to do with Machado. I mean, at this point, given what he's shown and all the strides that they've made as an organization, I really doubt that Manny's the problem. I think Tatis is more likely to be the problem, but
could be.
You're right. Yeah. Other guys have said no.
Yeah. And I think you make a good point about Machado though, because I feel like he gets a bad rap for being kind of a douche in Baltimore, right?
Yeah,
He's
yeah, he
grown up a
was
lot.
though.
He's really
Yeah.
matured a ton since then.
Well, and
It's
when he
I
went
don't know.
that little stint he had in LA, I think changed everything. I don't know if he was on his way to changing or if that's what changed him or what. I don't know, but that's what did it for me with
Yeah.
Manny Machado and his sort of presence and his reputation. It all shifted during that stint with LA. So I'm not willing to pin it on Manny anymore. I think
Right.
Manny's doing all the right things.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I absolutely agree with you. Okay, other notable signings. Trea Turner
Mm,
signed with the Philadelphia Phillies for 11 years, $300 million. Um,
yeah.
that's a big deal.
Oh yeah,
That's going to
dude.
be a big deal. That I like seeing that the Phillies were not satisfied with making it to the World Series, because when the Mariners won 116 games in 2001, they didn't make any big moves. They didn't make any notable moves because they're like, well, if it's not broke, why fix it? Well, it's
Right.
obviously broke. You didn't make it to the World Series when you won more games than anybody in baseball history,
Right.
besides
Yep.
one team, right? Like,
Yeah.
so the
Sorry about
Phillies are
that.
not satisfied with just making it to the World Series. They want to win it. So they're throwing some money around. They also brought in Taiwan Walker,
Yeah.
4 years, $72 million. I think that's a great move. He is a
Super.
strong fourth or fifth option in any rotation, and I would
Yeah.
take him in a heartbeat in that spot
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, I
Great
agree. I
clubhouse
think
guy.
it's awesome.
Big move.
Before we get too deep into this, Brad, I want to just point out that kind of a told you so. When Mike Trout, especially, or first of all, but when Bryce Harper especially signed those mega deals that were career ender deals, I said I hope this keeps happening. Right? I hope that whatever's in the water, we get these legacy names, these franchise guys that are going to be names on the back of the jerseys forever. Right? Like
Right.
these huge contracts that we have like hometown heroes is how I was thinking about it then. And it's happening. Judge is going to
Right.
finish his career in pinstripes. Trea Turner is going to finish his career in Philadelphia, very likely. Xander Bogaerts is going to finish his career very likely in San Diego now. I mean, if you go up and down the line here, you've got these guys that are going to sign 8 or better years, and they're always going to be there. They're never going to go to play a different team, almost
Right.
no matter what.
I mean, I bought a Julio Rodriguez jersey the day after he signed that, and I was considering it. Right, I was thinking about it
Yeah,
when I was up in Seattle, but then he signed that deal while I was up there. I was like, oh yeah, there's no reason not to.
no,
He's
exactly.
going to be around forever. This will be a relevant jersey for the rest of my life,
Well,
for
and it's
sure.
way more than just the jersey's relevance, right? It has to do with the hearts and minds of the fans, and like sales is great and all that, but it shows the fan base that you're invested in the team. It shows the fan base that you're invested in the development of their players and making sure that success is what you prioritize. That's what it says to me.
Well, and to me, like the jersey is the physical evidence of that, because like I
Right?
said, I went a long time without buying a jersey with, or even a jersey with a player's name on it, because I wasn't sure if he's going to be there tomorrow, right?
Yeah,
So for me, that's like evidence of my, like, okay, I'm invested in this player because you're invested in this player,
that's great.
right? Like that's the way I see the jersey sales, is that I'm not just going to go buy any Joe Schmo because they're so expensive.
They are. Yeah, they really
Jerseys are
are.
so expensive, so I'm not just going to go buy any random jersey. I got to make sure that he's going to be there for a while, or it's a player I really like.
Yeah.
But okay, moving on.
Okay.
Justin Verlander has left Houston officially. He is a New York Met for 2 years, about $87 million. It's like 86,600,600,
Some
whatever.
crazy change. Yeah.
It's basically like 86 and 2/3
Right.
million dollars. And then Jose Quintana signed with the Mets as well, 2 years, $26 million. The Mets also got another pitcher. They got a pitcher from Japan who is the highly sought after free agent.
Yep.
Kodai Senga signed for 5 years, $75 million. That's a big deal that
It's a
they're
big
really
deal.
loading up this rotation, because you lose Jacob deGrom and then you come in with this. It's like,
It's
I don't want
okay.
to say addition by subtraction, but it's definitely
Yeah.
stepping up replacements, right?
Yeah, that's great.
So
I
good
think
for the
addition by
Mets.
subtraction isn't bad, actually, as far as the analogy goes.
But speaking of DeGrom, he went to the Rangers, 5 years, $185 million. That's a huge
Hmm.
deal. Like, not just
Huge.
financially, but that's a big deal for the Rangers, big deal for the AL West, because as a Mariners fan, I'm like, yes, we got rid of Verlander, but here
Dang
comes
it.
DeGrom.
Yeah.
Shoot.
Yeah. And I don't think you're going to get a slouch to Grom. I mean, he's not, as long as he stays healthy, he's going to be great. So,
And I know that a free agent's going to come in and say this, but he said his goal is to win the World Series with the Rangers. He's not just there taking the money. I think he was really methodical with choosing the Rangers. And Brig, I got to give you credit where it's due. You nailed this one, by
thanks,
the way.
man. They're doing something down there. I'm telling you.
They are, and it has me a little bit worried. Well, just a little bit right
Just
now.
a little bit.
Not too worried.
Yeah.
Brig, you mentioned Xander Bogaerts going to the Padres. He signed for 11 years, $280 million. They finally got somebody. They finally landed a big fish. This is a really interesting signing.
Yeah.
Because he's a shortstop.
Right. To me, this means Tatis is going to play outfield.
Probably, most likely.
When he comes back, we're going to see Tatis out in the outfield and on a short string too, or short leash. Like, it's not going to be, I don't know. We'll see.
It could be, because this is one of the things with Tatis is that I wonder if they've had a conversation with them like, you will do what we tell you to do, because we are done with it. We are fed up.
Yeah.
So I think when he comes back, I think he's going to be really stepping in line. We'll still get the big home runs. We'll still get, he'll still be flashy and everything. But I think that he's done with the shenanigans for now. At least for now.
I hope so.
Yeah. For his sake, I hope so.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Wilson Contreras signed with the Cardinals, 5 years, $87.5 million. That's a bit. You'd called that one too, right?
Yeah, I did. It was so good. This is my favorite. This is my favorite prediction of the whole hot stove season, is that Wilson Contreras. I was excited that I got it right, but I'm excited because he's the only guy that was on the table that could have followed Yachty. Like, he's the only one.
Yeah.
And the St. Louis Cardinals organization saw it for what it was, and they went out and made it happen. And I'm so excited for Wilson. Like, I'm so excited for him because he is the guy that can step up and take this role. He's the only one. And I'm super pumped for him. And he's just great. It's just great for everybody but the Cubs.
Cubs fans. Sorry, Denise. Not happy.
They should be weeping into their oversized cups right now because it is really bad for them.
They absolutely should be.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great move. I love Wilson Contreras taking over for Yachty Molina. That's amazing. That's so fantastic. And he even said, he's like, Yachty was my idol growing up.
Right.
That's super cool.
No, the whole storyline's amazing. Yeah.
Speaking of the Cubs, they got Jameson Taillon, 4 years, $68 million. What do you think of that pickup? What do you think of that for the Cubs?
I can't believe the Yankees let Taillon go. Honestly, I'm shocked. Like, this is a money dangle thing. Like, the Yankees just weren't willing to offer him that much money. Otherwise, I think he stayed in New York. I was pretty surprised that he left, but like, as a Yankees fan, I'm not I'm not shocked because they were so worried about other guys, but the Cubs picked up a terrific arm.
Yeah, they did. They also got Cody Bellinger on 1 year, $17.5 million. This is a prove-it deal for Bellinger to prove that he's not absolutely washed. And I actually think they got a pretty good deal for him because he hits really well when defenses play him straight up. He's got an over 300 batting average against teams when they're not shifting on him. And with the shift gone, he could. I don't know that he's, like I said, I don't know that he's necessarily going to return to form, but he could have a good year.
Yeah, it's going to be a short string situation as well for him, but we'll see. But I think it's fun. I like that he ended up at Wrigley. I think that's a cool place for him to go prove himself. Mm-hmm. The Cubs need a guy like Cody. If he can come back to full form or even 3/4 of what he's supposed to be, then that'll be a great thing for the Cubs and the Cubs fans. If he doesn't, though, I feel like this is going to sound really terrible, and I'm sorry, Denise, and all our Cubs fans, but if he doesn't perform and it's just disappointment, nobody's going to care. We're going to all write him off. We're going to be like, yeah, okay.
You're probably right. And you know what? I didn't even think about this until just now. I wonder if he does play well, if he's just there to be a trade piece at the deadline.
For sure.
That there's a contender who's like, we could use Cody Bellinger. And they send over a couple prospects for the Cubs because they're playing the long game right now. They're not.
That's right.
I don't think they're necessarily focused on this year or next year. I think that he'll end up being a trade piece if he's playing well.
It's a great thought. Yeah, I didn't think about that either.
And then the Giants got Sean Manaea. This happened like this morning. I was getting
Yeah.
everything ready, and I saw this. They got him for 2 years, $25 million. I feel like that's a bargain. That is a steal for that dude.
There's literally, this makes no sense.
I don't know why, and I don't know why it took so long. Like this, he is a great pitcher.
I'm shocked the Yankees didn't pick him up after Tyone left.
I wonder if he wasn't willing to go because he would have had to cut his hair.
Maybe.
I think that's been a big deal because Luis Castillo told his agent, I think, that he didn't want to go.
Yeah, he said no to
Yankees.
Yankees. Yeah.
So,
Well, I don't think we ever got the details, but that could very well be why. Yeah.
I think that that's going to be a problem for the Yankees going forward because that's been getting to be a thing in the league now.
Yeah, it is.
They also got Mitch Haniger. Farewell, Mitch Haniger from Seattle. He went to the Giants for 3 years, $43.5 million. The Mariners were not going to give him that kind of money.
No. And that's okay.
And it's fine. And I think Jewel, like on the Seattle podcast, Jewel called us. He said like $14.5 million wherever he goes. And the Mariners not going to give that to him. He crushed that one.
It's awesome.
Jock Peterson re-signed for 1 year, $19.65 million. That's a pretty good deal for him.
I think Jock wins. Yeah,
I
Jock
think
wins
so
this
too.
one.
Because that's more money this year than what Mitch Haniger will make.
Well, and if Jock Peterson, speaking of trade pieces, if Jock Peterson can step it up and do a little better, the Giants are also looking to play the long game a little bit, especially because they failed to sign Aaron Judge. I think if they had picked up Aaron Judge, they would have done a little bit differently.
They probably would have, yeah.
Because they didn't, they're playing a different game now. So, yeah, I can see him being another trade piece.
I think Jock Peterson's his fate at the end of this year completely depends on how the Giants do, because we saw the Giants in 2021 were a really good team.
Yeah.
And then in 2022, they were not. So I think that the Giants are kind of playing things by ear. They're like, if everything clicks again, we can compete. We've got a great team. So if things are going well, Jock Peterson sticks around. If they're not, but he's playing well, I think they trade him off.
What if they gain or lose Rodon? How does that factor into their expectations?
They might, they might send it. I think it depends on who they get back then. I think Jock Peterson, I think you're right. I think he could be traded either way. And I think it depends on what they try to get back, because if they're contending and they still need pitching because they don't have Rodon, maybe they trade him for a pitcher.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah. And if they're not doing well, I think they'd probably trade him away for some prospects. But anyway.
Yeah, I think so.
Josh Bell signed with the Guardians, 2 years, $33 million. I thought that was interesting. Only 2 years for that dude?
Just didn't see that coming at all.
Yeah, especially with the Guardians. Like, okay.
No. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah.
But they see something we don't, and that's cool.
Like, I was thinking he sees something that we don't. But I was legitimately surprised he only got 2 years. I would have expected like 3, maybe 4 at least.
Yeah, 4. 4 made a lot of sense. I don't know. That one's baffling. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Kenley Jansen signed with the Red Sox, 2 years, $32 million. That is spot on for that dude. Chris Martin also signed with the Red Sox, 2 years, $17.5 million. That's not the guy from Coldplay. I think Chris Martin probably sings on key. But anyway, Masataka Yoshida is an outfielder from Japan, also signed with the Red Sox, 5 years and $90 million. From what I've seen and what I've read about this dude, that's a great pickup for them.
Yeah,
it's a big deal.
Yeah, I think so too.
I don't know that he's necessarily going to be the next Seiya Suzuki, but this dude's really good.
We'll see.
Zach Eflin signed with the Rays, 3 years, $40 million. I feel like that was a lot of money coming from Tampa Bay.
Yeah. Kind of really, where is that coming from, money? Yeah.
Yeah. And then Clayton Kershaw re-signed with the Dodgers for 1 year, $20 million. I think this will probably be his last hurrah.
For sure.
This is all we get from Clayton Kershaw. So
yeah,
I think he's going to empty the tank this year.
If his arm's going to fall off. Everybody, we might legitimately have a Nolan Ryan exit where he's like, "Yep, that's it. It's over."
It could be. Yeah.
So I felt it pop, and my arm is sort of dangling here, and that's all I got.
It could be. Yeah.
Thank you for everything. Hopefully, it's in Chavez Ravine,
and hopefully, it's in the World Series. That'd be awesome.
No,
that'd be a way to go. I think that'd be a great way for him to go in the World Series.
What against the Mariners?
And maybe that's why the Mariners win, because there's no Kershaw.
Ooh.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
I can feel that.
Just throwing stuff out there. Just seeing what sticks in the soul. But
that's fair.
There are some guys who still have not been signed who are notable. We got a list of notable free agents. JD Martinez, who was actually in Seattle over the weekend.
Oh.
I think he would be a great DH in Seattle.
Yeah.
I would love that so very much. Kevin Kiermaier still hasn't been signed. That's baffling.
I thought I saw he got picked up somewhere, or was it he get an offer somewhere?
He may have gotten, I don't know. Maybe that's why he hasn't signed. Maybe he just hasn't accepted any offers.
Maybe.
I'm
I
surprised
saw something from him though, and I don't know what's happening.
Carlos Correa is still out there. Teams are bidding on him, and I mean he signed with Boris this last year, didn't he?
I think
so. It's going to be a while before we see anything for him. They're going to take everything and wait for that last dollar. Carlos Rodon, like you said, is still available. Gene Segura still out there. Joey Gallo.
Stop it.
So
how is this notable? Why did you put his name on this
because
list?
There's no shift, Brig. That's why it's notable.
I know.
And he might be the best towel waiver in the league.
I know. That's all true. So, well, bring him to Seattle then. What do you think?
I'd bring him to Seattle. You could platoon him
for $3?
in left field. Oh yeah, I would definitely want, like, given his performance the last couple of years, like you've got, like, he's got to take a team friendly deal for sure.
Oh yeah,
he can't be out there asking for a bunch of money.
No,
but he could have a bounce back year this year.
He could sign him to a AAA deal in Seattle, and
I like that.
Put him in left field with a team friendly deal, and just let him taxi squad back and forth a little bit, and let his stuff mature some more and work it out and see how he does with no shift on. That's what you do with Joey Gallo this year.
I think that's a great way to go. Fiscally responsible with Joey Gallo.
Yeah, be careful. Yeah. Give him a towel, though.
Hand him a towel. He'll wave it enthusiastically. Dansby Swanson still hasn't signed. He's still out there. Gary Sanchez. I would bring Gary Sanchez on strictly as a DH.
Totally.
That dude can mash.
Yeah, bring him on as a DH. That makes perfect sense.
I think that's his new role in the league is a DH. Andrew Benintendi is still out there. Adam Frazier. He played this last year with the Mariners. He was a disappointment with the Mariners, but I do think that this is the thing about Adam Frazier is the dude doesn't strike out.
Right.
Puts the ball in play. I think he's going to benefit from no shift too.
Yeah.
I think that'll be really good for him. Andrew McCutchen still out there. You're getting a clubhouse guy with Andrew McCutchen.
Yeah. Experience, maturity.
I think he ends up signing with a contender. Not before spring training, but he'll eventually end up with a contender this year.
I could see him getting traded to a contender at the deadline. I don't know.
There you go.
I don't know that it matters where he ends up right now. But if he ends up in Texas, watch out. They won't move him. They won't move him if he ends up in a place like Texas, or especially Texas. Then he's not leaving.
Yeah, you could be right there. I wonder if you can sign with a team under the condition that they trade you to a contender at the deadline.
I don't know. I'm sure you can sign under conditions of all kinds. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, Trey Mancini is a free agent. Corey Kluber. Luke, would you call him Angry Pants Voigt?
Yeah. Yes, that's right.
Luke Angry Pants Voigt still out there. Yeah. And this is like a make or break for Luke Voigt, I feel like. He signs with a team, talk about I don't want to say on thin ice, but minding your P's and Q's when you're in a clubhouse. Luke Voigt's got to kind of.
I don't know why. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's an attitude thing or if he's just angry pants or what. I don't know. I would be angry if I was him. That's why I call him that. But
I would be too.
But I have no idea what the problem is. I don't know if it's a mental thing or if he's getting treated poorly or what. Something's going on.
Yeah, well, because he's been in two really good situations and then been removed from both of them forcibly.
Right.
So.
Yeah, forcibly.
Yeah, I'd be angry pants if I was him too. Adam Ottavino is still out there. I think you can get him on a bargain deal. And he can be really good for somebody. I think even like if you bring him in as your third starter,
fourth even.
Yeah. Oh, he'd be a great fourth starter. Yeah. Definitely.
That's what I'm saying. If you got a rotation that has room, he could end up back in New York. He could end up in Seattle. He could end up in Texas. I don't know. Nobody's going to fight him for that jersey number, though. That's easy.
Yeah, it's true. I don't think he'll end up in Seattle. Seattle's pretty well set unless they bring him in. He'd have to be the fifth starter at Seattle because they really like 1 through 4 trying to move 5th and 6th starters, Marco Gonzalez and Chris Flexen. They're trying to move those guys.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised. But anyway, and
He'll
then
get picked up though.
yeah, he will. He'll be on a team. And then Mike Zunino, I had to put him on here just because you're getting an all-star defensive catcher who hits like 200.
Right at the Mendoza line. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And I think there are a lot of teams, a lot of pitching staffs that could use Mike Zunino on their team. Because
as a number 2 catcher, bullpen guy.
No, as their starter.
Starter?
You
think so?
I think he's a viable option for a lot of teams as their starter. Absolutely. Like if you've got 6-7 guys on that roster who can hit, and you can kind of hide his bat, like
you'd have to hide it though.
6th or 7th hole, maybe even the 8th hole, because he's going to come in, he's going to hit 25 home runs for you. So you'll take that, right?
With a 200 average, yeah.
Yeah, I think you take that. And what he's going to do for your pitching staff.
You just love Mike Zunino, though.
I love Mike Zunino. Brig,
I love him so much.
I watched him hit a ball out of a stadium, Brig. And I watched him in Seattle. I watched what he did in Tampa Bay with that pitching staff. I don't think it's a coincidence. He is an all-star defensive catcher.
He is. And I love to poke you about it because you just are ardently supportive of Mike Zunino.
I am ardently supportive of Mike Zunino. I'll be a fan of his anywhere he goes.
It's so good.
Because everywhere he goes, the pitching staff will get better.
They get better. Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
That's what's going to happen.
Pretty awesome.
But anyway, so that's your hot stove update. We have one more thing before we take a break. Bryan Reynolds, it came out this last week that he requested a trade from the Pirates, and they are baffled.
They don't understand why.
they said that they're not going to trade him. It doesn't affect anything going forward. And the article I read, it was either the team or the reporter who like broke the news about it just wasn't sure. Like, it's unclear why he wants to be traded. Really? Is it really unclear why this guy and everybody else who's ever come through there has asked to be traded?
It's amazing.
It is unreal.
So good.
And I do think it's funny that they're refusing to trade him. They're like, no, you can ask us to be traded all you want, but you're still going to go out there and you're going to perform.
Yeah.
Because that's what you do. Because it will affect how you get paid later. And we're going to keep you around because we like you, because we can market you, and fans need hope, even though there is none here in Pittsburgh.
Oh, no.
Anyway, they're going to trade him eventually. They have control. He's under team control until 2025. They will trade him the offseason before that season because they can get a haul, because he's going to be even better then than he is now.
Totally. He's not going to slack off. That's for sure.
Yeah. So, yeah, they're just waiting to get maximum value out of him. That's all that is. They're going to trade him just like they did Josh Bell, Garrett Cole. They'll trade Adam Frazier. Like, yeah. Everybody. And eventually they're probably going to trade O'Neal Cruz as well.
I was just going to say that. Yeah, I was just going to say that.
So, anyway, let's take a quick break. When we get back, we're going to wrap up the 2022 season by checking in on our meaningless predictions.
Welcome back, baseball family. We are excited to dive into what we like to call meaningless predictions. And at the beginning of the season, we always issue a string of them. It's just a litany of ridiculous predictions that almost always fail to be accurate. But this year, we decided to treat you with a reminder of what our meaningless predictions were at the beginning of the season. So we're going to go through them. We actually clipped them from, Brad, he took the time to clip all of the segments of our meaningless predictions episode as reminders of how wrong we were. So we're pretty excited to bring you that information. So Brad, without further ado, let's wrap up the season by talking about our meaningless predictions, and then we'll get into some other things, right? So first, let's talk about our AL division. Let's talk about the AL East. What did we say?
Okay, that's what we said for the AL East. In the AL East, who do you have top to bottom?
Top to bottom in this order: Blue Jays, Yankees, Rays, Red Sox, Orioles.
Okay, I have Yankees, Blue Jays, Rays, Red Sox, Orioles.
Wow.
Oh, dang, I'm surprised. I just got the bottom two flopped, was all.
Yeah, I was way wrong. I was also wicked sick that day, but
That's true.
That's my alibi.
Time is a
I'm
flat
also-
circle, Brig.
But pretty sick today too, as it happens. So actually, I'm just getting over it. Back off. Okay, Brad, put
So
our,
hold on. So the AL East actually stacked up: Yankees,
Yeah.
Blue Jays, Rays, Orioles surprised everybody, and then the Red
right,
Sox.
and then the Red Sox.
All right. Okay, let's move on to
Okay.
the AL Central.
Do that.
Let's talk the AL Central. Who you got in line?
I have Detroit,
Yeah, you
Chicago.
do. I don't know why?
Minnesota, Detroit, Chicago, Minnesota, Kansas City, Cleveland.
Yeah. That's not the only difference for me is I have the White Sox beating the Tigers. That's it.
Oh boy,
So we were so wrong on the Guardians.
could not have
Oh,
been more
man.
wrong.
And I for some reason was like all in on Detroit, and they lost
You
nearly
were.
100 games. Wow.
Yeah, I even then didn't understand, but now it's clear that you
Yeah.
were really wrong.
Super duper wrong.
Oh, was I?
In fact, I don't know if this was part of this conversation, but this happened.
How does it feel to be
Yeah.
wrong?
Pretty normal, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah,
We just need to hold on to that because that's a thing. That's a trend.
yeah, it's a whole thing. Okay, let's do the AL West. Show us what we just said for this.
So let's
Oh,
talk
yeah,
about how
yeah.
the Central actually stacked up. So we did have the Guardians actually ended up winning the division. And then
Right,
you had the White Sox, Twins, and then the Tigers, and then the very bottom was the Royals.
right.
Another
Shocking.
huge disappointment this year. Anyway, all right, the
Oh,
AL West
God.
is how the AL
Yeah.
West went. All right, let's go to
come
the
on.
AL West. That's fine. I was scrolled down to the NL West already.
Okay, who do you got?
So I actually have Houston winning the division again.
Yeah.
They are
Yeah.
not so depleted that they will not win the division. Then I've got Seattle
Mm.
finishing second,
Yeah.
the Angels third, the Rangers fourth, and the A's last.
See, now I have everything you do except I got the A's finishing before the Rangers.
I should have put money on that one, Brig.
You should have.
Like,
Yeah,
big bucks.
you really should have. What
Yeah.
what did it actually turn out as? Just exactly what you said.
It's just what I said: Houston, Seattle, Angels, then the Rangers, and then the A's.
Yeah.
Yeah, now I know. I might put money on the AL West this year because I feel like I have such a good grasp of what's going on with that division that's why I was able to do that. But anyway,
Yeah, makes
very
good
happy
sense
with
to me.
that one. Feels
Yeah.
pretty good to be right sometimes, Brick.
Feels pretty good.
All right, let's go to the NL East. Here we go.
Yeah. NL East, I've got Mets, Phillies. Oh, it's so hard. Mets, Phillies, Braves, Marlins, Nats.
Okay, I have Phillies, Braves, Mets, Nats, Marlins, and then a big swing and a miss.
Holy
Because-
crap.
The NL East is so unpredictable. Like those three teams are really good.
Yeah. This
Right,
year
like, it's-
especially.
Yeah, it's kind of a stacked division with those three, but then you got the Marlins and the Nats at the bottom. You don't know what you're going to get from those teams. It ended up being Braves, Mets, Phillies, Marlins, Nats.
Right.
The
Barely,
Nats
though.
were way worse than I thought they were going to be. I knew they were going to be bad, but man, they're pretty bad.
It was pretty bad. Well, and nobody saw the Mets falling off quite as hard as they did either. Shut
Metting
up.
the bed, Brig.
You
Metting
did?
the
Okay,
bed.
fine.
I was saying it all year long. There was a
I know.
time when I said, maybe they won't, but then they went ahead and they met at the bed again.
I'm
Like
still
they do.
upset because I was all in on the Mets all year long,
I know.
all the way to the end.
And you had every reason to be. You had every reason to be in on the Mets because they were so
Yeah.
good for so long,
So
but then
disappointed.
just ran out of gas there at the end. All right,
It's
let's move on to the NL Central. In the National League Central, I'm going to go with Milwaukee, St. Louis, Chicago, Cincinnati, Pittsburgh.
I've got St. Louis, Milwaukee, Chicago, Cincinnati, Pittsburgh.
Hey, Brig, how does it feel to be right?
It's just once in a while. It's pretty nice.
So Brig nailed that one. Cardinals, Brewers, Cubs, Reds, Pirates. But really, the Reds and the Pirates finished with the same record, but I'm assuming that the Reds won the season series. That's why they're above them in the standings. But
No, but yeah, I think you're
62
right.
and 100, both teams. Yikes.
Oh,
So bad.
wow.
Okay. On to
Okay.
the National League West. Okay, you go first with the NL West.
All right. I, as much as it pains me, I've got LA winning the West.
They're the
And
cream.
then I've got what?
They're the cream.
They're
Like
the
really,
cream. They really are. And then I've got San Diego, San Francisco, Colorado, and Arizona. Okay.
LA, San Diego, San Francisco, Colorado, Arizona. Arizona was surprisingly good this year. Like,
Yeah.
obviously not like very good because they were 74 and 88, but they were a better team than I thought they were going to be. That's
Way
for sure.
better. Especially
Yeah,
early
so-
in the season.
Yes, early on in the season, they were pretty respectable. So that division ended up being Dodgers, Padres, Giants, Diamondbacks, Rockies at the bottom at 68 and 94. I did make this prediction though with the Dodgers. Let's just throw this in there real quick. They finished with 111 wins, and I think the Dodgers are going to finish with the best record again. They might win 110 games this year.
Oh,
Woo!
Brad. Drop
I
it
was
like
pretty
it's
happy
hot.
with that one. When they reached that 110th win, I was like, yes. Very happy with that.
Yeah,
happy
that's
with it.
awesome. Okay, let's get into the playoffs then, because we meaninglessly predicted the playoffs as well. And let's go into, tell us what your AL playoffs were, Brad.
Okay, this is my AL playoff. So my division winners, I have the Yankees, Tigers, Astros, and then my American League wild cards are Toronto, Cleveland, and Seattle. That's not right. The White
No.
Sox, not the
You didn't say
Guardians.
Cleveland.
Because I had the Guardians in the bottom. I should have left it.
You should have left it.
Despite the fact that I had them finishing last in the division.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. That was
that's an inability to read my own handwriting. That's what that is.
I see. Oh yeah, it's very good.
That's exactly what that was. All right, let's get into your playoffs real quick there, Brig.
Division winners are Blue Jays, White Sox, Astros. And then my wild card teams are Yankees, Rays, and Mariners.
Nope. I got all the teams in, basically, except for the
White Sox.
White
Just
Sox.
flip
But
the White Sox and the Guardians. Other than that, you had everybody because it was the Yankees, Blue Jays, Rays, Guardians, Astros, and Mariners.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you made a good pick. Let's look at your NL playoffs, Brig.
So the National League, I've got the Mets, Cardinals, Dodgers. And then backing them up, I've got the Phillies, the Brewers, and the Padres.
Woof. Woof. Just barely.
Barley. All right, my NL playoffs. And then in the National League, I have the Phillies, Dodgers, and Brewers winning their divisions, with my wild card being the Padres, Giants, and Cardinals.
What? When nobody saw the Giants fall apart.
No. They go from winning, what they win, I think it won 108 games last year, and then 81 this year. They're 500 team this year.
Blah. That's awful.
So bad. Yeah. So bad. So as a reminder, the NL playoffs were the Braves, Cardinals, and Dodgers as your division winners, and then your wild cards were the Mets, Phillies, and Padres.
Okay, what did you say for
Thanks.
the World Series?
Not good. I have Yankees, Brewers. Maybe I'll go. I don't like the
I'd
Brewers.
love to see Yankees, Cardinals.
I'm going
World
Padres.
Series.
I'm going Padres. That pitching staff is too good.
You started with the Yankees, Brewers.
Why did I ever think the Brewers would make it to the World Series?
I don't know.
Oh my goodness. Like, what in my right mind ever?
It's amazing.
So bad. So bad. And this is one thing that's funny is I sat and waffled for 10 seconds. And then here's Briggs' World Series pick.
Yankees, Dodgers.
So certain. And it's actually a great pick. That was a good pick.
It wasn't bad. It didn't
For a
work
while
out
there,
at all.
it looked like it was a collision course. It was inevitable that those teams
It
were going to be
did.
playing in the World Series, but
It totally did.
nonetheless. All right, here are our World Series winners. Who do you have winning the World Series then?
The Yankees.
The Padres to win the World Series this year.
I didn't even let you finish the question. I That's how ready I was to be right.
You were so ready. And my Padres pick ended up being way better than like ever thought it could
had
have been.
no business being that
So
good.
close. So close. Amazing though. That's
Oh
fun.
my
Okay.
word. Oh.
So those are our season wrap. But for those of you who may have already forgotten, I mean, it's been it's been a month plus. So it was the Astros and the Phillies in the World Series. Astros ended up winning the World Series. For those of you who might have forgotten. Okay, let's go on and we'll talk awards. Brig, this is your manager of the year, AL manager of the year.
It's gonna be Scott Service.
Ooh.
I said
I'm going to go Scott Service again. He should have won it last year. I think the Mariners are going to make the playoffs this year, and it's going to be him.
Ooh, you got half right.
And he was a finalist, but it ended up being Terry Francona.
Yeah.
Francona won it. And the more I get separated from it, I'm like, he probably should have. We had the Guardians finishing last in the division.
It's
and
true.
he brought them to the World Series. He brought them to the division
Or not
series.
to the World Series, the division series.
The playoffs
Yeah.
of the division series. Yeah.
Right.
So
True
he probably
facts.
does deserve it. Yeah. Okay. We both at the same time made our AL Rookie of the Year prediction.
Julio!
Julio!
Nailed it.
Nailed it. It has never been easier, to be honest with you, to ever pick a Rookie of the Year. He won it before the season started, and he lived up to all expectations. It was amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Love it so much. Okay, Brig, actually, I thought you had... I'm going to do yours second, because I thought your NL Rookie of the Year pick was really, really good. Here's my terrible guess.
Okay, my National League Rookie of the Year is actually a guy who came over from Japan and signed with the Chicago Cubs. His name is Seiya Suzuki.
He had a pretty good year, but he definitely did not have a Rookie of the Year caliber year. No, like not even close. Not at all. But I thought your NL Rookie of the Year pick was pretty dang good.
My National League pick is O'Neal Cruz, actually.
I think that's a great pick.
Thanks, man.
Because you saw somebody who, like, before, like, a lot of us, right? Because he was a revelation to a lot of people, myself included. And I thought that you were like, this guy's going to be really, really good. And I don't know if maybe he didn't have enough time with the bigs to win it, but
Pittsburgh.
It ended up being Michael Harris II with the Braves. But I thought O'Neal Cruz was a solid pick.
Thanks,
Absolutely
man.
Solid pick, especially
He's awesome.
Somebody who was mostly an unknown coming into this year. So I remember I went back and clipped that. I was like, oh dang.
I forgot.
Despite being wrong, he crushed it.
I forgot who I picked. Every time you pull up these clips, I keep looking at my faces, all weird shapes. I'm like, look, I was so sick. It's all I can see. My eyes are in like 3 different places.
They are. Looking off in all sorts of directions. Yes. Like crazy eyes on Mr.
They really are.
Oh, peanut butter and gumball is my favorite. Okay. Anyway, all right, let's move on to the NL. Let's move AL Cy Young. Here we go. Here's my pick for the AL Cy Young.
Okay, I'm going with Garrett Cole. I know it sounds like a homer pick, but it's not.
Sorry, that was your pick,
mine.
Greg.
Yeah,
that was yours.
Yeah, that didn't work.
And then here's mine.
I want to go with Robbie Ray repeating, just because I'm going to go with Robbie Ray repeating. Tight pants,
really?
Tight pants all around for the Cy Young.
Oh, that was a terrible pick. He had such a bad year.
Yeah,
like I guess I can't say such a bad year, but he was definitely not a Cy Young candidate this year. It was Justin Verlander won it and absolutely ran away with it.
Yeah, in a comeback year, he said he pitched 2 innings in the last 2 seasons combined, or 1 inning total in the last 2 seasons combined. I think he had 1 outing.
Yeah, in 2021.
And it was, and
or
now
he missed
2021.
It was 20 anyway.
Anyway, now he comes back with a 1.75 ERA, comeback player of the century. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And he's 38, and he's Tommy John. Shut up.
Yeah. Yep.
Ugh.
Yep.
Get out of this town right now.
Get out of town. Anyway,
get out of here.
Father of the bride. Yeah. But here's Briggs NL Cy Young pick.
I am actually going to go with Corbin Burns.
Whiff.
And then here's my NL Cy Young. So I'm going to go with tight pants with Walker Buehler.
Whiff.
Walker Buehler didn't even finish the season.
No.
Poor guy had to have Tommy John.
Yeah.
So Sandy
really good.
Alcantara ended up winning the Cy Young in the NL this year, and
Yeah.
he again ran away with it. Absolutely deserved
Totally.
it.
100%. Yeah.
Okay, Briggs AL MVP pick. Here we go.
I'm giving it to Ohtani.
I think I said the same thing. Vlad Guerrero Jr. the third.
Oh,
right, I said Vlad
You're
wasn't
both
even a
wrong.
finalist this year.
No.
Ohtani was at least a finalist.
Aaron Judge walked away with it though, and rightly so.
Yeah, great year for Judge. Okay, and then Briggs NL MVP pick. As long as he puts up a respectable season, I think Soto is your guy. And he didn't. He struggled, especially when he got to San Diego.
I was going to say, once the move happened, everything really started falling apart.
Yeah. Okay, and then Briggs NL MVP.
Like, so I don't know. I'll go with Soto. I got to go with Soto.
Lame.
Well, it
Didn't
sure
even have
seemed
a
like he was
developed opinion.
with the year that he had in 2021, it sure
Yeah,
seemed like
it's
he was
true.
set up to do it, right? Because
agree with
Harper
that.
kind of stole it in 2021. And then it's like, well, okay, Soto's going to come back. And he had a pretty good start. But yeah, something's going on in San Diego second half of the season, man.
Something's seriously happening.
Yeah,
And it might have to do with that song. I don't know.
Which one?
That's what's in.
Oh, gee. Okay. All right.
Sorry.
Anyway, with that, there's your wrap up of the 2022 season. We're going to take a quick break so I can recover from that, and then we'll get back and we'll give you our final emoji tiers from the season. Welcome back, baseball family. So we're going to get into our final emoji tiers of the season, which we were doing every month. For those of you who don't know what they are our version of power rankings. But before we do that, we wanted to share some of our surprises and disappointments from this season. I'll go first. I'm going to start with one of my surprises of the season. My first one was the Cleveland Guardians. I mean, we talked about it a little bit ago last segment about how we both had them finishing at the bottom of the AL Central, and they come back, they win the division, they win the wild card round when we were both picking against them. Thought that the Rays were going to beat them, but they didn't. And then they gave the Yankees all that they had in the division series.
All of them. All that they had.
That was my biggest surprise of the season, and good on them for getting there and competing the way that they did. I think that they are going to be a problem in the division in 2023. I think because the White Sox are supposed to be the cream of that division, but they have not been. And I think it's going to be the Guardians, at least this year, maybe not the year next as well.
Yeah, that's a good one. I was equally surprised by that. My number one surprise for this season was Baltimore Orioles. Like literally, they came out of nowhere, and that second half they had once they brought Adley Rutschman up, and then when Gunnar showed up as well, like it was just insane. But I mean, you got to give all the credit to Adley Rutschman. They finished, the record was 83-79. That's better. That's good enough for fourth place in the AL East. And we didn't think they were going to finish that low toward the end of the season. We thought they were creeping up even higher than that.
They were making a run at the playoffs. They were looking like they were going to get a wild card spot.
Dude, it was crazy. So I think this is their first winning season in like 8 years or something crazy. It's like a billion years.
It's been a long time. It feels like it's been a billion.
That's right, since they've been above 500. And so I just think it's crazy. They went from one of the lowest attended ballparks in the major leagues for that first half of the season to a respectable attendance, which just shows to show you that, Baltimore fans especially, I mean, every fan's this way, but Baltimore fans especially want to show up and watch their ball club win. And when they do, they're going to throw down support, and it happened, and it's exciting. So
they finished 89-73 in 2016 and lost in the wild card round. They had a stretch 1, 2, 3, 4. There were 5 years in a row where they finished at or above 500. But then before that, it was 97. They finished.
See what I'm saying?
64. Yeah,
it's been a really long time.
Yeah, and those 5 years they finished those. Those were Chris Davis's heydays,
right?
And Manny Machado was in town.
Yeah,
that was a big deal. So, yeah,
there you go. That's my biggest surprise.
Huge surprise. My other big surprise this season was Justin Verlander. Everybody, like, they were talking about how he was throwing gas when he's coming back off of his rehab and everything like that. I was like, okay, yeah, I'll wait though, because he's old guy coming off Tommy John. I kept waiting and waiting and waiting for him to fall off a cliff this year, and part of that was the fact that he's a division rival, right?
Yeah,
But the other part was he's 39. He just came off Tommy John surgery.
that's right.
Yeah, I was not expecting the year that he had this year. That was outstanding, absolutely amazing year for him.
My number 2 biggest surprise was the rookies across the league this year. We have rookie sensations. I already mentioned Adley Rutschman. You get Michael Harris II, Spencer Strider, Jeremy Pena, Stephen Kwan. I mean, on and on. The rookies just showed up this year, and it was Julio,
Yeah.
like O'Neal, it was crazy. O'Neal Cruz. This year was full of rookie sensations making their splash, and they're going to be around for a long time. So
yeah,
I did not see that wide band of rookies showing up.
If those guys continue on the trajectory that they're on, the league is in great hands.
Yep.
I think that's a great one. Okay, we should have started negative and gone positive. Instead, we're gonna start positive and go negative. Disappointments. My biggest disappointment was the Dodgers. Yes, they won 111 games. Yes, they had that great season, and yes, Dave Roberts predicted that they would win the World Series. No, he guaranteed it. But they lost in the division series. Like, you can't do that if you won 111 games. You've got to at least make it to the league championship series. Even the Mariners, who won 116 games 2001, made it to the ALCS before they got knocked out of the playoffs. Like, you've got to move on beyond the division series if you're going to win that many games. Otherwise, it's meaningless.
Right.
So, yeah, that's my big one.
So I'm going to stay in California with my disappointment. It's how the Angels started the season and then totally melted down to the point where they had to remove Joe Madden partway through. I've been a big fan of Joe for a long time. And I think the whole situation in Anaheim is super sad. And it just sucks for everybody involved. So we've known that there was trouble. We thought that the beginning of the season was going to, kick us out of that. And we all thought, okay, here we go. April looked great. May looked pretty good. And then boom. And then it was over. Yep. So that sucks. It just sucks for baseball. I don't care who you are.
It got so bad that the owner is like, I'm done. The owner wants out. It's so bad.
Yeah. That's a huge disappointment for me.
And as a division rival, I'm kind of like, that's fine.
Yeah. But as a baseball fan, you got to be upset about it.
Yeah, like you don't like to see teams be like play like that. And the thing is like they were so bad for such a long stretch that they could never dig themselves out of that hole. They started playing pretty well in August and September, but they were in such a deep hole that there was no daylight. Zero.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a big time disappointment as a baseball fan. I absolutely agree with you. Okay, and then my other disappointment was the handling of the lockout. And like they're always ugly, right?
Yeah.
Because each team is playing the PR game and the propaganda game, trying to pit the fans against the other side, whatever. But my thing is like the fans don't care who wins or loses the lockout.
Not really.
All we care about is whether the game gets played. Like, I don't care that the owners are like, well, we're paying them this much because we're getting this much revenue, but they're not willing to take it. And then I don't care either that necessarily the players are like, well, but there's this much revenue, but we're not getting this. I don't honestly really care. I just want to watch baseball.
Yeah.
That's it.
At a high competitive balance.
Yeah, exactly. All I care is that the league is balanced, and which I feel like is a thing despite like there is disparity, right?
Yeah.
Between the Dodgers winning 111 games and the Nats losing 107. Like, I understand that there's a disparity, but the fact that we have not had a repeat World Series champion, there has been no dynasty in Major League Baseball since the Yankees at the end of the 90s. To me, that says a lot about the balance of the league. So baseball is doing something right on that side, but the lockout itself was just so bad. All of it was so bad. And both sides have got to do better next time that this thing comes up, because it was ugly.
Yeah, I agree.
So what you
You're
got
making
for
me
your
you're making me want to change my second pick. That was really persuasive. So I have a couple that are tied for my number 2 most disappointing thing, but I think that everything about the Freddie Freeman deal was disappointing.
Oh yeah, the way that all that came out, that was
The way the press handled it, the way the agents handled it, the fact that he didn't stay in Atlanta is just so sad for everyone but Freddie Freeman. Like, he's the only one winning here. I don't even think
yeah.
Dodgers fans are all that thrilled about Freddie Freeman. I think that it's great for them. I think it's fine, but it's not like, yes, we got him. I don't think they feel that way. Whereas friggin' Atlanta fans are still mourning, like they're still not over it. And that's noteworthy. This goes back to what I was saying earlier about these franchise players who are going to be generational legends, right? This is a Dale Murphy situation. This is a Chipper Jones type situation where, can you imagine the history of the Atlanta Braves without Chipper Jones? Like, just think about it for a minute. If he had been traded out when he started to flag a little bit in the latter part of his career, and they were like, fine, get out of here. And then he went and had decent year somewhere else. Like, everything about the way we interact with baseball would change. And I think that that's what happened with the Freddie Freeman deal. I know I'm blowing it a little bit out of proportion. I got that. But I also think, like, as a larger narrative on how baseball is operating right now, it's just plain sad.
Yeah. Well, and it's interesting you say that the Dodgers fans aren't like super thrilled, because I think you're right that it's just kind of like, okay, he's another guy in our all-star lineup.
Yep.
Right. Another all-star, but he actually had a better year this year than he did.
He totally did.
2021 with Atlanta.
No, he totally did.
But it was so expected by Dodgers fans and probably the rest of the league that it's kind of like poo-poo, even though he was finished 4th in MVP voting.
Yeah, no kidding. No, he had an amazing year. I just wish he'd have done it in Atlanta and that they'd have found a way to work out a deal. That's all.
Yeah.
It's just
I
disappointing.
wonder if the Braves, seeing the effect of Freddie Freeman leaving that franchise, like the effect that it seemed to have had on the clubhouse, right? Because there was something missing in the playoffs. And I don't know that necessarily a veteran leadership by a guy like Freddie Freeman has that big of an impact on it, but there was something missing in the playoffs. And I wonder if they're going to consider things like that going forward with guys they let leave. But I don't know.
Who knows? Because
Who's to
Olsen
say?
had a great year. He came in and had a great year. So I don't know. I just think I continue to be disappointed by it. That's all.
Yeah, and I think that's valid. Do you have one more disappointment for us, Brig?
Yeah, the Yankees melted down.
Oh, yeah.
After they went and just cruised and cruised and cruised. I mean, we thought, like you said earlier, a collision course with the Dodgers. And then it just turned out to be this I don't know. I don't even know what happened. I know it was so sad. They were like historic pace and all this, and then nothing. And then they eked their way into the playoffs and then barely put up a fight at all.
Yeah. That the way that they got knocked out in the ALCS was ugly.
Yeah.
So ugly. Yeah.
Yeah. It was almost like they had no business being there.
Yeah, I could see that, especially as a Yankees fan, that being a major disappointment. Okay, let's wrap up our final emoji tiers real quick.
Okay.
Let's start with our diamond tier. Brig, walk us through your brief diamond tier. Here we go.
It's very small. Astros, Phillies, Braves. I don't think it's any surprise as to why I picked these teams and put them in there. I mean, I think their records and their performance speak for themselves. Not just the record, but their performances, right? The Astros just deserve to be there. Phillies put up a heck of a fight. It was just so great. And then the Braves, despite having a missing piece or two, they were fun to watch.
Right. Yep. For my diamond, mine's very similar: Astros, Phillies, Braves, but I threw the Dodgers in there. I had to have the Dodgers just because they won 111 games. I feel like that alone warrants you being in the top tier of the league, just because it's hard. It's hard to win that many games. That's a lot of games.
It's a lot of games.
And I don't care that they flamed out at the end. Like I said, it was a disappointment, but at the same time, they were a great team, and I expect them to be back next year, winning 100 plus, 105 plus games again next year. So because they're the Dodgers, and they're really good right now, really, really good. So, all right, Brig, show us your heart emoji tier.
So this is where the Dodgers show up for me, specifically because they lost so dramatically after winning 110 games. You got to understand that for me, the expectation, just like you said, win 110 games, you got to do something about it. Yankees this year won 99 games, didn't do anything about it. So, and the Yankees aren't even in my heart tier. I'll get to that in a minute. I've got the Mets right next to the Dodgers, Cardinals, Padres, Mariners, Orioles, and the Guardians. And I don't think I need to further justify the Orioles, but I'm in love with what's going on down there in Baltimore. I think it's so much fun, and I'm really excited to see it become even better.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. So my heart emoji tier, I have the Mets, Padres, Blue Jays, Orioles there as well, Cardinals, Rays, and then the Mariners. I love the way the Mariners are put together. Like, I am so happy with this team, and the moves that have been made so far this offseason, I've been very happy with. I stand by my 2023 World Series pick. I'm going to die on that hill, Brig. Absolutely.
Yeah, you are. I love it.
I like what the Padres have. I don't know, until they absolutely just fall off a cliff. I'm probably going to have them in my heart tier. And then everything you said about the Orioles too. There's nothing not to like there with the Orioles. So they will be there until they prove otherwise, until they prove they don't belong there.
Right.
So, all right, Brig, your question mark. This is the level where we're not sure what we're seeing here. What do you got?
Yeah, I don't know what the Yankees are doing. I have no idea. I know they signed Aaron Judge, which is super exciting. But here's the thing. I fully anticipate Aaron Judge having a weird 2023. Not just because it's hard to follow up what he did this year. That's going to be part of it, but that's not all of it. I think that there's going to be expectation that's going to be weird. I think the clubhouse dynamic is going to have shifted tremendously, and that's going to be weird. You add that to the expectations and all this. I think the Yankees are in for an interesting 2023, and I think Aaron Judge has a funky year, and that's part of it. So we'll get into the meaningless predictions episode in a few weeks, but that's what I see happening, and that's why they deserve a question mark. Blue Jays are the same way. Sean Manaea is gone now. I don't know what I'm going to get out of them. The Rays continue to baffle me. What is going on in Milwaukee? And I put the Cubs here just because they signed Cody Bellinger, and I'm really excited about that. And I know I'm not supposed to include that in this because this is a season wrap-up thing, but I had to because I want to see what is going to happen, and I'm completely confused and ready for something to give me more evidence.
Yeah. So remember the Blue Jays, Brig? They have Alek Manoah.
Sean Manaea
was with the
Thanks,
Padres.
bro.
But,
yeah, you're right. I appreciate that.
Yeah, very, very close. Very close in the names, though.
Yeah. What about you?
Okay, so for my question mark, I had the Yankees, White Sox, Guardians, and Brewers. Of course, I have Cleveland there instead of Guardians because that's how we do things around here.
Starting to change.
Getting there, yeah.
They earned a lot of respect this year.
Yes, yeah, a lot of respect. My thing is, like, I know I said earlier that I think that the Guardians will be at the top of that division, but honestly, like, I don't know because they were not supposed to be good this year. They were good. I don't know going forward if they're going to be able to duplicate it. I would like to see them because I think that would be very cool. They'd be really cool in the Central, and it's not a great division, so they definitely have a chance to. The White Sox. Who knows what the White Sox is like? Who knows what's happening there? They were supposed to win the division this year. Everybody had them winning the division this year, except for me, who had the Tigers for whatever reason. Yeah. But like, I don't know if they know what's going on in Chicago with the White Sox. But then the Brewers, who knows? And the Yankees, I was baffled by the way the Yankees finished this season. Like, absolutely baffled with the way that they flamed out in the playoffs. Because I was just kind of like, I don't know who they are anymore.
Right.
I don't know who this team is anymore. So that's why I put them in my question mark. Let's go to your thumbs down, Brig.
Okay, this is a bloated tier for me because all of these teams just disappointed me like crazy, except for the Rangers, who moved up to this spot. And I'm still pretty high on the Rangers moving forward. But Red Sox, White Sox, Diamondbacks, Twins, Tigers, Rangers, Pirates, Rockies, Giants, Nationals, and the Angels all fit my thumbs down. Not quite poop, but I don't like them.
And I think it's justified too. I think it's fitting. All right, my thumbs down. I've got the Red Sox, Twins, Diamondbacks, Rangers, Cubs, Angels, and Giants. The Twins were another one. I'm like, we're a huge disappointment for this year. I thought they were going to be, should have been better than they were. The Diamondbacks, just still not a good team. Rangers, I don't know. It was interesting with the Rangers because a lot of people had them winning a lot of games because they had Simeon and Seager, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like they were exactly what they were anyway. And then the Angels should have finished higher. I think that the Angels, at the very least, given who they have and what they are, should have been in the question mark at the very least. But man, they were not a good team this year, despite everything.
Yeah.
Everything they have, and that was not good for Angels fans. That's too bad. All right, Brig, your last one. Wrap it up here.
My poop is A's, Reds, and Royals.
Your poop is A's, Reds, and Royals.
Yep. My poop
and I feel like it's
royally, athletically red.
You might want to see a doctor about that. Anyway, that's funny. Okay, we go to my
because I've been sick, Brad.
That's true. So I got a big poop. I got a big poop tier.
I bet you do.
I got the Nationals, Marlins, A's, Tigers, Reds, Rockies, Royals, and Pirates. And I pretty much just grabbed like the bottom 8 teams and was like, this is your poop tier. This is it. Like, I think that the big thing with this was that all these teams either finished with 100 losses or darn close to it.
Right.
Because that's all these teams had either had 100 or more losses, except for the Rockies had 94. They were close, but they were not a good team this year at all.
No.
So that's my poop tier. But baseball family, let us know about your I want people to send us emoji tiers. If you have emoji tiers, send them over because I would love to see them because
dude.
I think that would be fun. And if you'd like to submit your suggestions for the 5 tiers for the 2023 season, send it on through the mailbag or comment on YouTube or reach out through any social media platform you prefer because we're there as Baseball Together. So
for sure,
you can do that. So, yep. Anyway,
don't forget to jump on the shop as well. You can go to 9plusus.com and get yourself something sweet. That might be for a limited time only. We're making some changes, so we'll see what we can do there. Also, don't forget the best way to support us is on Patreon. We have tiers as low as $1 of support per month, $5, $10, and $15. Those come with their own benefits, but specifically the bullpen cut, where you get all of our inappropriate jokes and behind-the-scenes content, and even some special interview segments that don't quite make it into the final edit of our interview episodes. Those are probably my favorite for the patrons.
Yeah, there's a lost episode on there too, as well, that we never
true.
aired. So there's that. That's a fun thing. But don't forget to like, subscribe, rate, and review the show. Let us know what you think about what we're doing. You just boop that like button and hit subscribe on YouTube. That would be fantastic. That way you don't miss anything at all ever, because we do drop bite-sized versions of every single episode every week. And baseball family, thanks for joining us. We will catch you next week.